Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's all right. We'd like to welcome to the Jazz for Peace podcast, Wajid Hassan. Wajid, tell our wonderful audience why you're here and why this today is such an important day for us to talk about peace.
Well, Rick, first of all, thank you for having me on the podcast. And I must say that was a beautiful rendition.
Thank you.
Here Comes the Sun. And it was worth coming on just to get the free concert.
Appreciate it. In 2002, many of our listeners know we brought together Israeli, Palestinian, and American jazz musicians to the United Nations. And I thought it was long overdue that we had addressed this situation. And now we're in such a strange situation because after doing all of the things that we've done since then, helping outstanding causes around the world, in places like Michigan, where you are now, and places like Pakistan, where you were born, the city of Lahore, where you were born, we have found that we can come up with peaceful resolutions to conflicts. And we actually created a peaceful resolution to the Palestinian and Israeli conflicts from working with Palestinian and Israeli people, working together with them. And we thought we had something that the people of Israel and the people of Palestine would vote in favor for. I mean, what more can you ask for in a conflict than the actual people of both sides voting together? And believe it or not, Wajid, we actually made it happen. We got to a point on LinkedIn where our posts were being so, there were so many impressions on our posts because of our experiences and the geopolitical things that were going on, that we actually received over 1 million impressions in 1 week. And when that happened, we knew that we were reaching a lot of people, that were looking at what we were talking about. And they were people not only from all over the world, but also Israelis and Pakistanis, because they were writing and commenting on our posts and all that stuff, and writing to us personally. So we decided to, deliver our proposal, which we did do. And then we showed the proposal to people, for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then we decided, look, we want to have a vote. And it was crazy because 96% of the Israeli people and 96% of the Palestinian people and an even higher percentage of the rest of the world all voted for our proposal against the other two choices. So one of the choices was to keep things the way they are, which only got 4%. The other 4% went to that. Escalating was 0. Nobody even voted to escalate the war. And all the rhetoric that you hear in the press, not one person voted to escalate the bombings or anything. Not even one. And 4%, like I said, had voted to keep things the way they are. Obviously, those are people from two different sides. One side one side says, if we have to destroy them because if we don't, they'll destroy us. And the other side says, we have to destroy them because if we don't, they'll destroy us. So you have two sides both saying the same thing. They need to destroy you before you destroy them. And that's less than 4% of, of the Israeli and Palestinian people. 96% of them say, we want to embrace something that works for both sides and enforce it. With our 96% of the people, we want to enforce this. And we've been living in a modern world where we've attempted to have systems in place to mitigate violations of things, and I just believe Jazz for Peace has something now with this, but these powers that be, we're in this endless war cycle, and they don't seem to want to pay attention. It's like they want an endless war. It's good for the war machine. It's good for business. I don't know why, because they won't say why, but we can't get our policy implemented that, like I said, is overwhelmingly voted by both. It's as hard to find an Israeli or a Palestinian that doesn't agree with the Jazz for Peace proposal as it was to find an American that wanted Julian Assange extradited over here, when they were saying the United States wants him extradited. You know what I mean? They kept saying the United States, but I was doing performances to free Julian Assange, and we couldn't find anybody in the United States that, was going along with that. And this is the same problem with Israel and Palestine. You've got Israel saying, we're doing this, and Israel's doing it. But what about the Israeli people? Is that what they want? And it's the same on the Palestinian side. So what do you think?
Well, you just hit the nail on the head, Rick. I mean,
wow, thanks.
Don't give up. Don't give up. And that's the thing that I'm telling all the listeners, is don't give up, because it may get worse before it gets better, but it is going to get better. That's why I'm on the show today, is to let people know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully not a train coming at you, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. Bombs have never caused a lasting peace. Bombs create fear, and more fear, and then every side is killing each other. I just have to support what you just said, because behind the scenes there are manipulators who control the politicians, who control the money, and who large corporations who make tremendous amount of money out of the sales of arms. They don't care. I mean, during World War II, most of the bombs that hit England were manufactured. The steel came from, believe it or not, America and Britain, when Hitler was given leeway to try to go into Russia, and then that same steel came and hit the British Isles. So it is a very, they talk about the silence group or the forces of darkness. I definitely believe there is a spiritual war going on between an invisible spiritual war that's going on between the forces of darkness and the forces of light. And movements like yourself, Jazz for Peace, and other movements around the world. I mean, look what Mahatma Gandhi had to go through. Look what Martin Luther King Jr. had to go through. Look what all these people who proposed peace were just put down, and now the status quo is changing for the better. I love the fact that your introduction was "Here Comes the Sun," because I live in a 15-story building, and I'm facing east, and I get the honor of watching the sunrise every morning.
Wow.
And each sunrise is different. And for your listeners, there's something about going back to nature. There's something about reconnecting ourselves to the sun. Without the sun, where would we be? Without Mother Earth, where would we be? You talk about the Maasai, and I got to go. I saw the Serengeti for the first time, and it just blew my mind. Going to Africa, Kilimanjaro, and these are the things that we're missing in the modern world. This interconnection, that we're all one.